Welcome everyone to my talk tonight, which is on ChatGPT and OpenAI solutions. And what I'm going to do is take you through the journey from about a year ago, last year. And when we started embarking on this AI journey, it was essentially, we were starting at ground zero. And we knew it was going to impact all the developers' jobs, but we didn't know it would impact everyone's jobs. And so there's about 100 people here at SSW. Everybody's role has changed in some degree. And so I'm going to try to walk you through that. This is how I've broken up my talk. We'll talk about a little bit of news, and then the no-code story, and then the low-code story, and then an enterprise solution that we built. And hopefully this will get you up to date. We can do a little bit of pontificating about the future. This is me. I am a Microsoft MVP. I'm also one of a couple of hundred Microsoft regional directors. And I blog at adamcogan.com. I will quickly show you that because I did do a blog post late last night on .NET migrations and how we've been migrating to .NET 8 and how that's gone. But I've got lots of blogs there if you're interested. I don't always dress like that. That was for NDC, where they're all Vikings, and I had to get into the Oslo uniform. That's how they all dress over there. And I have, I'm going to use some of the stuff I did in Oslo and some of the stuff I did in Sydney. Now, I'm going to encourage you. Who's already got this app? Okay, maybe half. The rest of you, pull out your phones, scan that, because at the end of this, I'm going to give you a code, and you can grab a whole lot of points. I think I've got about 800 points for my talk. You can watch videos online and get it. We ship a lot of swag, and one of them is this little cable. In China, in our office, everyone has these cables. And it has the wattage, and you know whether you got a slow or a fast thing. It's quite useful. Got that. We got bands. We got mugs. Lots of cool stuff. And even the mugs have temperature on them. Also from China. Okay. So let's talk about AI news first. And you can keep up to date by following the OpenAI blog. Anyone religiously reading the AI blog? No one? Okay, well, I'll get you up to speed anyway. So the first thing that people talk about a lot when you get into this is how many tokens can you send to GPT? Can you just send a small one, or you can send a monster email, or can you send a book? Or I want to send a small amount and get back a book, the tokens. So the tokens are essentially one word, one token. Not exactly, you can see down here. It approximates a word, okay? Each color there is a different token. And this will matter because when ChatGPT first came out, it was a small token limit, and it's gradually gotten big, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. So 2002, we had ChatGPT, and it was running, well, if you're on the free one, this is what you got. How many people are on the free one still? Okay. Oh, I think 2/3. How many people are paying for ChatGPT? All right. Oh, about a half. That doesn't add up. But anyway, how many people have no clue, or just like raising their hand? So I will tell you, if you have done side-by-side tests with this, you will definitely be paying the $20 a month. ChatGPT 3.5, the free version, is a liar. And it just makes stuff up and is very annoying when you do side-by-side comparisons. And also, it doesn't always follow your instructions very, very good. All right. So when it came out, I don't know if you know, the man behind ChatGPT is a guy that runs OpenAI. His name's Sam Altman. He was the man that ran Y Combinator, which is the venture. Well, it's all the startups. So he's very involved in teaching people how to make a startup and make it successful. And he gave all these instructions how to do that, and he would teach people to do all this marketing and demand generation and do everything right before you release your product. Now, when he released GPT 3.5, he didn't follow any of his own advice. He just put it up there and saw if anybody used it. He thought some people would like it, but he didn't really want to make a big fanfare because he wasn't very proud of it. They'd already made the paid version, GPT 4, and so he just put it out there just to see a little bits of feedback. Well, of course, it went crazy. And you're going, what the hell? And that's why he didn't follow his own advice. In 2023, we got GPT 4, and its token limit went from 4K to 8K. It doubled, and that meant that you could pass in a lot more. It was also a lot smarter. It cost money to use it. When you're using the API, it was more expensive, but the data was still old. It was still 2021. And now we've got GPT-4 Turbo, and that knowledge database has been updated. The token limit has increased a lot, and it's miles cheaper. And you can see the trajectory of where we're going. It's going to get more powerful and cheaper. Now, the first tip I'm going to do is talk about custom instructions. How many people have already set up their custom instructions? 2 out of this big room. And I am going to suggest that the first thing you do is you pull open your phone, or in this case, I'll pull open my iPad. On your home screen here, you should put the ChatGPT icon. That's important. You should be using this instead of Google. I don't use Google very much anymore. I go for that for everything I can do. My prompts. I sit next to someone in the lounge yesterday. I just came back from America. I've been at the MVP Summit over there, and I was sitting next to this guy in the lounge, and I was teaching him how to use ChatGPT well. I was pretty amazed. Now, one of the things you can do is if you say paste an email in there and say give me a suggested response, because I'm too lazy to read the entire long thread. A better approach is to skim the email, draft up your approach, and then check what AI would tell you. Okay, but reading an email, it needs to know who you are, who the characters are, etc. So what you can do is update these custom instructions. The guy that runs SSW Sydney, his name's Yuli, okay? And I copied his because I think they're cool. He says, my name is Ulysses McLaren and I live in Sydney, Australia. People like to call me Yuli. I was born here. I have 2 children, Azalea, born here, Darius, born here, so now it knows how old his children are. I have a wife, Jasmine, born in this date. I'm the general manager of SSW, a custom software development company with about 100 employees in these offices. Boom, 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 right? So now it's got a whole lot of context based on different emails he's doing, etc. Now, I asked him for some examples because I didn't have all my home stuff. I just had work stuff. So here's recent examples he actually had. Jasmine doesn't like the smell of beer on my breath, but I want to kiss her. What can I do? Maybe not drink beer. Okay. Darius, see, it knows that's his kid and the age of his kid. Stole Jasmine's credit card. How can I make sure he knows that's a big deal? I didn't have this when I was parenting. Did you, Mike? No. That's why we made so many mistakes. Okay. Now there's no excuse for any parent to do a bad job. Now, onto his work stuff. Help me improve this page. So he's trying to fix this page up. He wants some advice. Free advice. Help me make a marketing plan to sell generative AI services. Okay? He was really doing this. And give me strategic advice to improve our partnership with Microsoft, Duende, Octopus, and Zendesk. Okay? All good examples. And obviously he's using it very well. He's using it continually. You never see him not do it. In fact, if you want to set up a meeting and you need his time, just mention the word AI and he's in the meeting, right? So ChatGPT now has memory. This is a new feature where it will work out what your preferences are based on past queries, okay? Or past prompts is the better term. How many people already knew this feature? Okay, 2 people. All right. So now, introducing GPTs. Okay, this is a new kind of component, widget, a thing that is a collection of prompts, and it can do more stuff. So this is the first thing you should do. You should go and have a look at some of these GPTs. This is just prompts where somebody has put these together and kind of made it so that you can share a prompt and it will do some stuff. So if you want to know how to be a better writer, or how to get rid of stains, or give me an explanation of games, or a tech advisor. So what I would recommend is you have a look at the ones that are trending. So there's an image generator here. Canva is an Aussie-based image generator, and I had actually never used Canva, but I used this prompt and I got up and running with it. So if you have a product, you definitely should create a GPT for the community to use. This helps create a logo. Like, of course, you can do all these things if you know all the right prompts, but this kind of puts it together in a nice little package. Consensus, diagrams. Okay, so lots of this stuff. Now, here's a very basic one just to see how it works. So this thing called Sell Me This Pen will help you sell anything. So, for example, I just threw in an image and say, sell me this bike. Okay, and it gives you, based on just the image, that's what you should put in your ad. Embark on an adventure with this robust and sleek mountain bike. Its specifications is it's a bike. Here's the brand. It says brand information not visible in the image. Please provide if known. It's crimson red. Country of origin, I don't know. Size, I don't know. Material. And then it goes off, looks up the internet, and it has suggested price down there. All right. ChatGPT also allows you to do maths. Multiply this number with this number. And now we've got that. You can send off the quote to the customer. Right? Wrong. You should not trust GPT 3.5, because this is essentially a text generator. And any numbers that it's doing is just based on its database of numbers, and you can't trust it. And I've already told you 3.5 is a liar. So never trust anything it says, but especially not with numbers. So pull open Excel. Wrong. Upgrade to 4.0 and you'll be in business. Okay. There is an example. Just pretty much any significant number. It's not going to get 2 plus 2 is wrong, because there's too much data in there that has that. But you start getting random numbers, it's never going to get that right. So the better way, and you can use 4 with these assistants. They have agent-like experiences. It will create some Python code and call the right functions. Here is a more complicated one, and that is this is Galileo, and here, as you can see, it's using GPT-4, and you could put anything in there, like more complicated stuff. How many days would it take to drive from Earth to the moon if I was traveling at 60 miles an hour? So you can throw that in, and what will it do? It'll write the Python code under the covers, work out that's 165.8, and then it will answer you, and it will say, thanks. It would take approximately 166 days to drive from Earth to the moon at a speed of 60 miles an hour. Okay, and it's not going to get that wrong. Awesome. Is that cool so far? Great. And all these GPTs that I just showed you were on OpenAI, were ChatGPT GPTs, which were just written with prompts. You can make your own and host it on Azure. And this is obviously very new. It's this month, this article. But Microsoft are in the very unique partnership with OpenAI, and they're supporting the whole thing, and there it all is. So you can use Azure for your GPTs. Great. And Microsoft, I read this article, how Microsoft are doing nuclear energy. I actually had dinner. I was lucky to have dinner with Scott Guthrie a few weeks ago in Sydney. And I said to him, hey, I read an article. Are you guys really doing nuclear? And he goes, yeah. In fact, he said, we already use nuclear in like a lot of Azure data centers, like Chicago. It's all nuclear over there. But we need to own our own. We need to have dedicated stuff, especially a lot of countries, you cannot have reliable electricity. And yeah, it was kind of fascinating listening to all the stories about, in some countries, a lot of people are incentivized to dig up cables and stuff because they're worth money. And so they had to completely rely on this themselves. And now, apparently, you can get these nuclear things in compact things. Still sounds pretty dangerous to me, but anyway, it sounds like they feel pretty confident in it. Okay, and Matt Wicks put that in because, did anyone notice I was pronouncing nuclear wrong? See, not a soul, but he thinks I do. Anyway, here's some more news. This is Copilot for Azure SQL Database. All right. Now, I think this is hilarious. I remember, it must have been 10, 15 years ago, some company rang me up and wanted me to go in there to talk to them about some big application and performance problems and stuff. Well, I turn up to this company and I hear them saying, the Microsoft expert's here. I go into the server room and there's a whole bunch of engineers in there, and I feel quite a bit of pressure that it looks like I'm there to fix some performance problem. And I'm thinking, wow, this app is enormous, this database is huge, I got no hope. I just, like, yeah, I'll have a look, but the chance of me being able to find your performance problems is close to zero. I just have a look. It's massive .NET project. What's the problem? Well, the thing is slow. It's just got slow over the years, and we've tried to fix it. And it was a page, and then I just put the queries that were being called into Query Analyzer, into a query plan, and it just said there's one of this that's doing a table scan. You should put an index on this. So we just put an index on it, and it went from like a minute and a half to like 2 seconds. You know, of course, an index in the right place makes a big difference. But I think it was more luck than good management in that case. But I did look like a bit of a hero. But look at this little button down here. Try Copilot with your SQL database. So you come here, you click that, and you pop it open, and you say, why is my database performing slowly? And it says, well, have a look at this. The average CPU usage has been over 90% over the last hour. The evaluation has found 2 expensive queries. And here is this query running, and we recommend you throw an index on this one because this is probably doing a table scan, I guess, right? So you go, oh, cool. And it's already given me the SQL. I can run that. Should work things out. It also says, there's the rest of it. No, actually, here's another one. It says, this is an example of an anti-pattern query. So you've got select distinct from where the unit price times 0.10 is greater than 300. It says you should refactor this to unit price greater than 300 divided by 0.10. Okay, so isn't that cool? It just wants you to just reorder that and it will perform better. It's an anti-pattern. So now I don't need to know about how to optimize a SQL database anymore. Now we've got AI helping us. Very cool. But I still need to write SQL. At least there's still a job for us, right? So Copilot, write me a query that finds the most recent orders for customers who have over $100,000. So we want the big recent orders. That's what we're after. Okay, so you enter that and it says, hello, here's your query. Okay, writing SQL is no longer a skill either. It's getting depressing, isn't it? All right, so there we go. All right, who loves this? Most of you, I hope. Who doesn't? Who just learnt SQL and doesn't want to Okay. All right. So, you know the thing that I find funny? I remember I've been in a few wars over the years with database administrators, DBAs. Um, they're usually like big dudes. They're old. They have beards. They're cranky. You know, you've met many DBAs, and they would be upset if you write SQL and you don't use the uppercase on their reserved words. See, the select must be an uppercase. Doesn't make any difference, but they make a big deal of it. If you look at this closely, you can see it is using a CTE, common table expression. So it's doing a good job there. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you a little thing that I found funny. Yuli was in the office and his wife Jasmine was around, and so he's going to pick up Jasmine. I go, oh, what's she doing around here? Like, you live a long way away. Because, oh, she's seeing a skin cancer doctor. And I, like most Aussies, go and see a dermatologist every 6 months. I've had like a lot of skin cancers, or the BCCs, the basal carcinomas or whatever they are. So I've got lots of them burnt off because I've got terrible skin, I guess. And I said, well, why come all the way over to Neutral Bay? He said, oh, this doctor uses AI. And I go, oh, cool, AI. So I head down. I just wanted to know about it because I had the NDC talk coming up, and I just wanted, I've been to a lot of skin cancer doctors over the years, and this is their usual practice. They say, put out your hand. Yep. Has anything changed? I go, I don't know. How would I know if anything's changed, you know? And they go, you know, turn around. I actually blogged about this a long time ago, that I had been to a skin cancer doctor, and sometimes they're very fast. They say, lie on your stomach, take your shirt off, lie on your stomach, and, I have an intern here. Do you mind if she listens in? She's from England. I say, I don't care, it's fine. And then looks at my back and says, that's fine. And turn over, and then the intern says, what's that thing? And the response was, oh, that's a nothing, I saw it, don't worry about it. I said, oh, can you nip it out anyway, because I don't want it there if it's questionable. And so anyway, it ended up being a bad one. So I was always grateful to that assistant, but I've always been suspicious. So I'd just been to the skin cancer doctor for like 2 months before this. So I didn't really want to pay another few $100s to get this done again. But since it had AI, I said, all right, I'll do it just to see what they're doing. So you go in and they say, take your shirt off. He pulls out his iPhone. He starts taking photos of your arm, your chest, and all this stuff. And as he's taking the photos with his phone, it's coming up on the screen. He's got a big screen there, and my photos keep popping up. And he gives you an app to install. And he says, look, whenever you're looking at something and you're wondering if it's any good, like it's questionable, you can open up your phone and see what it was a few months ago, because these things can grow fast sometimes. And I thought it was very cool. And then up came, this is actually my shop, believe it or not, and this thing was called Ugly Duckling, and that shows a whole lot of other people's ugly ducklings, basically using machine learning. I just thought it was pretty cool. I head home, and about 7 p.m. that night, this doctor who I'd just met that day, taking a whole lot of photos in his office, he's calling me, and I go, oh, hey doc, this is funny, am I dying? And he goes, well, I need you to be in the office 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I've cleared my schedule. One of those things came up as a melanoma. And I go, oh, well, I didn't sleep that well that night. I go in, and he cuts out a whole chunk. Now I'm just going to give you the stats before I show you. But just so you know, 1,300 people in Australia die of melanomas every year. It used to be miles worse before we were regularly checking. So we closer to 20,000 people in the old days before we had all the dermatologists. 90% of cases can be successfully treated if you get them early. and there is more skin cancer deaths in Australia than car accidents. So it's pretty significant, right? Especially if you see all the lunatics on the road. So now I do want you to look away if you don't like nudity or blood and guts. All right. So look down if you don't like nudity or blood and guts. Right. Okay. Nobody looks down. Okay. So that is the thing that he cut out. He said it was. That's my doctor, my new doctor anyway. It is substantial. You can see if you have a look. See that? And so it's substantial. He cut out a big circular bit. My nipples are slightly misaligned now, unfortunately, but doesn't matter too much. But he said that was about 6 weeks from entering your bloodstream. So it's a bad one, and you shouldn't. You got to be lucky. Okay, if you don't get those early, you're in trouble. And you want to know something? It's right here. I see it in the mirror. I didn't think anything of it. And in fact, I was pretty impressed. All right. Okay. Now, before we move on to the next section, everyone stand up. This is voluntary. You don't have to, but stand up. Just stretch the left. Stretch the right. Try to just turn around by staying similar on your feet. All right. Let's move on to the next section. Okay? We're going to talk about the no-code story. And this is kind of where we were 12 months ago in the company. It was all about prompt engineering. Now, prompt engineering is typing a very good prompt. And, marketing assistants are becoming prompt engineers. Content writers are becoming prompt engineers. Seth does a whole bunch of the tweets that you see on the SSW, like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that stuff. AI generated, okay? Social media managers are doing that. Graphic designers are starting to be prompt engineers. They're using DALL-E, or we use Midjourney a bit, Stable Diffusion. Court stenographers, prompt engineers. Pop stars can make songs now out of AI, and they're having a lot of fun. I've watched some pretty awesome videos. Software developers, we're just prompt engineers now. This is great, isn't it? Fantastic. Now, there are woodworkers. They're staying woodworkers. Okay? So, and plumbers. I think they're safe too. Okay. What?
Well,
say again?
the tank hardwood.
CC? Oh, CNC. Yeah, you're basically saying there's robots that can start doing this. Is that what you're saying? Yes, that's true. Yes. Okay. All right. Then forget about the woodworker comment. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I did this. I have a belief that soon, when you go into Seek, or this is our major job site. Currently, prompt engineer gives no matching results. Okay. I've been watching this now for a year. We have ChatGPT has just started, and there's now 19 jobs if you're good at ChatGPT. Okay, so it's just starting. Soon that will be on everything. All right, so what you want to do is have an AI mentality in every task, and I'm going to tell you how we went about doing this. The first thing we did is we wrote a whole bunch of rules on how we do things. How many people have read some of the SSW rules? Okay. All right, maybe a third of you. That's some homework for you. Go to the SSW rules. There's heaps of it, but just with the ChatGPT, just the prompt engineering, we have 31 rules, which are bad practices and good practices. Don't do it this way, do it this way. We also have rules to better GPT, which is using the OpenAI API. We have 17 rules on that. And if you want to generate images, we have 8 rules on that as well. Okay, so we have a whole lot of rules on .NET and running Scrum and account management and sending emails and everything. All right, so now the other thing is I think it's really important to encourage the use and be visible in your usage. So you want employees to tell you when they've used AI. So we suggest that you put an emoji at the bottom. What emoji should you use? A robot, thank you. So that's the one you should be using, the robot emoji. So we have a rule on this, how to do it. You want to encourage it. I will tell you, and we're going to come to this later on when I talk about the enterprise solution, that you want to make sure that you have a report over your email, which is telling people who's using this the most. Okay. So we like to. So we actually, if you read the rule, it says if you are referencing something where you've exactly copied it, put the two emojis, the two robots. That's double. That's quoted exactly. You can put the link there to the ChatGPT conversation. Also, if you just were inspired, but then you fixed it all up, just put the one emoji. Okay. Now the other thing is we have a induction system. It's called Sugar Learning, sugarlearning.com. And when people join the company, this got changed a fair bit so that there was lots of AI pieces. So from the get-go, people are doing this. So for example, one of the first things you have to do is install this little the little app on your phone and start using it. Read some rules and stuff like that. Here's some examples. So here is one. Before we send a proposal to a client, you get it checked by somebody else in the company. You get it checked. So you're sending like a good proposal. You've covered things. We have this kind of checking system like pull requests, etc. So this is this says here. Let's look at this line as an example. If you're going to email a client proposal, get it initialed by someone. Okay, so that you've done it and a second eye. Now we have this tip. This is new. For the above, run your work through ChatGPT before getting it checked. And here's the right prompt to use. The right prompt is proofread this for me and then just paste the content. Proofread this for me and you just paste what you've written. And it will give you feedback. Okay? All right. So don't show it to someone without having it proofread. You wouldn't show somebody an email without removing all the red squiggles where there's spelling mistakes, would you? I hope. Yes. If you ever see a red squiggle under something, add it to the dictionary if it's meant to be there. Don't become desensitized to red squiggles. Okay? Remember to get it proofread. Here's another example. We have a task in our Sugar Learning, which is pass the Scrum assessment, right? Now, in the old days, people would get confused over, why did I get that question wrong? Because Scrum has a few quirky rules, and you don't always... How many people here are doing Scrum? Okay, most of you. That's awesome. So what we do now is we say, if you don't understand why you got a question wrong, you can use ChatGPT as your Scrum coach by prompting it. You are my Scrum coach. I have a question about blah, and paste your question. If you still are confused, then go and ask a colleague who is the Scrum Master. Got it? So. Okay, so now I've just got a question about custom GPTs. You are one step ahead of me. Hold on, sir. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to tell you about is we have some ChatGPT cheat sheets. So for example, we wrote this and we kind of went through the best ones that we could find and we put it there. And we wanted everyone to look at it. I know some of you have been to the bathroom in there. They're in there. We also wrote one for devs, a dev edition, and it's this. Okay? It's a lot more advanced and it's awesome. So you can download that from our website, or I'll give you these at the end if you want to take any home. And there they are. They sit in all the bathrooms of all the offices. You can't get away from this. We don't want you relaxing on the toilet. Okay? So the next thing is it's hard to keep up to date with all the AI stuff. So what we did is we created this meeting once a week. I encourage you to do something similar. And we rotate people in and out. So we have a couple of core people and we rotate the others in. It's how you used it that week, what were you doing for it? We have, well, when I did these slides, it was 40. I think it's closer to 50 now. So basically at the end of the meeting, it's a long email with all the usage, what's the latest news. It really changes people. And in this meeting, it was Aman, Tom, Michael, Piers, Seth, and Adam. And so you put down the number of chats you had in that. Look at Piers going crazy, but he was actually writing a GPT at that point. So he created something to automatically create a PowerPoint in that case. Somebody was converting screenshots. Somebody was analyzing Tina CMS as a business. Okay, yeah, we ended up getting involved in this Tina CMS. So here we have a whole bunch of example meetings. These are actual meetings, and those meetings really changed how we work. So the next piece after you've done the meetings is I'd go to your homepage. Now on our homepage, like most homepages, we have a little chat widget, and the chat widget was always powered by Zendesk. And you'd go in there and you would say, hello, do you do .NET and Azure consulting? And this was answered by our marketing team. There's a few marketing people that were on there, and they would answer this, sometimes inconsistently, and sometimes a little bit of time if they're at lunch. What was even worse is these people only work 8 hours a day. So obviously, most of the time, if somebody outside work hours would ask a question, it would say, we have, thank you, it's been emailed, we'll get back to you tomorrow, or something like that. So we changed this to an AI chatbot, all right? And it could, the worst thing about the Zendesk thing is it can only really answer questions if you've set the question up. You had to anticipate everyone. It was never like ChatGPT that could just anticipate like responses. So it's been replaced. Now you can ask it. So you click on it and go, who is Adam Cogan, out of curiosity, because you haven't set that up. It will look through the website and answer. And so that is not a response that we programmed. It just worked it out. I have a project that I'd like to discuss. Can you answer that question? And goes, yeah, that's great. We'd like to hear more about your project. Book a free initial meeting. So it's worked out from our side what to do. It is awesome. We've done this for a bunch of people, and people have had great results. These are our results. It came out of that weekly meeting, by the way. It improved the chat traffic that we have times 10. And it also improved the amount of time it would take. Because sometimes you have the marketing people interrupting developers to get answers to go back, and then they're gone. It was annoying. Anyway, so lots of people have had great ideas with responses just to changing that. So I encourage you to change it. We also wrote a rule and a video on how we did it and how to implement it. It's not that hard. All right. The next thing I'm going to tell you about is no code. And Microsoft, the Power Platform team, created this thing called a Power Virtual Agent. Okay, so the Power Platform team are the team that do Power BI and Power Automate and what else have we got? Power Apps. Now that is now called Microsoft Copilot Studio, and you can go in and you can just say, here's my source. You could say, here's my intranet, and it will just work. Or here's my website, and see what it does. And then you can test it out and go, who's Adam Cogan? That's the answer it gives, just by looking at the website. And then you could ask it, do you guys do .NET consulting? And it goes, yes, we do. Look at this page. Okay? So it's all pretty good. This is a funny one. We do a lot of what we call done videos in our company, which is when you do a PBI, to add a new button that populates a grid and does a search feature. At the end of that, we record a quick video. It's a little rough. It's pretty good. There's a few people that don't like doing the videos. They're shy, etc. But this works well. Now, we also can, in our the AI product I'll show you near the end, you can also look at who's sending the most done videos by report. Now, this is funny. Jimmy, who is our accountant, who does not love doing videos, he did a video internally for SSW about, please stop sending me all these receipts for Ubers. Please just use this thing. He didn't write all these slides, and he didn't it's not his voice. Okay?
Hi, this is Jimmy from SSW. Today, I am excited to introduce a game-changing tool that will revolutionize the way we manage our travel expenses. Uber for Business. In our fast-paced work environment, getting to client sites or attending meetings efficiently is crucial. However, managing the associated expenses can often be a time-consuming and challenging task. Before we embark on a journey with Uber for Business, let's take a quick look at our current process. When taking an Uber or taxi, we need to get approval, pay with a company credit card or personal funds, save tax invoices and submit them through the ZeroMe app, following the guidelines on sugar learning. It may take 10 minutes to finish the paperwork and could be worse if the tax invoices are lost. Now, imagine a world where managing business trips is effortless. No more confusion, no more tedious administrative work. Meet Bob Northwind, a 34-year-old software engineer from SSW who needs a business trip from his home to Sydney Airport for the next flight to Brisbane. He simply opens the Uber app, toggles a button, and effortlessly switches from a private ride to a business ride. That's all there is to it. No paperwork, no authorization involved. Is this amazing? How can he do that? Enter Uber for Business, a powerful tool designed to simplify and streamline our business travel.
But you can get the idea of what Jimmy did. Now, if you'd like to know what he actually did, he went into ChatGPT and said, I'm drafting a script for an introduction video. I want you to improve my script. Basically, I want people to use the ZeroMe app, if this is the text he put in, which is very different from what the video produced. Okay, so he put in this text, help me make them use the app. And then it said, certainly, here is your script. Welcome to SSW. Every business trip is an opportunity to streamline, all the ChatGPT guff. Obviously, at that point, if you're smart, you should rip out all that extra garbage it puts in to make it, because sometimes, to me, it sounds very ChatGPT. Okay, so you should remove that so it doesn't. But anyway, this really fixed it for him. Now, he steps over to Azure AI Speech Studio and pastes that in, and it makes him an audio file. It just turns all that into that guy's voice. That is nothing like Jimmy's voice, all right? So, and then he goes over to this AnyMaker and just gives them the voice file, and it makes all the slides. Is this next level? This is an accountant at our company. He's not a programmer. He's just trying to get out of doing a video. Say again? Yeah, so the question is, in the video, there is a screenshot of somebody using the Uber app, and you can see it has SSW there. I should ask Jimmy how he did that. I think he recorded a little video on his phone and put it into this thing. So somehow it worked, but I think it was super easy for him because he's not into this. He's into Excel and Xero, and he's certainly not into making videos or being a video editor, and he did this all himself. So anyway, that's how that worked, and that's a great example of just being a prompt engineer. Right. So let's get on to the next bit. This is the custom GPTs. Now, everyone stand up again, because I don't want you to fall asleep for this one, because this is the gold one. Stand up, stretch to the left, right over, really hard, and over to the other side, and turn around. Awesome. Okay. Hopefully your blood's moving. This custom GPTs, this is where the rubber meets the road in an organization to become productive. So there is an image that was generated from one of the GPTs by a developer. Can you believe it? A developer who has no design. This developer can't, when he does something, doesn't even remember the company colors. But he did that perfectly, and that's why he made a GPT to get around that problem. All right, so we have the rules with a whole lot of text. But what you should notice is this UI is not good enough anymore. People expect to be able to interact with a website full of content with a GPT. So see that little guy? You've got to add that onto your UIs. Now, I have a talk and this is where it goes to, and now I can ask any question. So I put some samples there. You can ask any question. I did a talk in Oslo. This was some months ago, so things were a bit different back then. But what I did is we had to create a database, a vector database, not a SQL database. The vector database was populated with basically coordinates of where all our terms on our rules sat. Allows you to do a search, calls the Azure OpenAI API, and then gives you a nice response with ChatGPT. So I should have waited, and now I could do this with a custom GPT, which would be miles faster. So all the poor Norwegians are doing it the wrong way now, but never mind. So we're going to do it the right way. And I want you to just get a handle on that this is it can do everything you do in ChatGPT, plus you can give it additional training, which it will do RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation, on the extra data. You can give it a whole bunch of instructions, which is your prompt template, and you can give it some actions where it connects to APIs and does stuff. A whole lot more. And now we have a rule on creating these GPTs, and you can read about it in detail, but I want to just take you through a few things. Now, what's your name, sir? Yeah. Jack. So Jack was asking me some questions, and it was kind of orientating it to this. And this is, we're consultants, so we're always going out to a new customer all the time. And we want to make sure that we work out if we want to do that job, and we want to make sure that the customer finds out about for a good match or whatever, whether it's in our tech stack, whether the way that the engagement model is the same, etc. And what I don't like is I don't like consultants turning up to a client and asking questions like, how many offices do you have? Like, that annoys me. Why? Because that's on a website. You can read that. It'd be better to say, oh, so you have an office in China. How's that going? That'd be a better question type of stuff. So make sure, don't go to a client and not have done some research on them. So one of the account managers, this guy is definitely not a programmer. He made something called SIMP, which is called SSW Initial Meeting Pro. All right. And the account managers, he basically put in a whole lot of our practices into here. And for the developers have to do certain things. So before they go on the Teams call or visit the client, they have to click this guy, pre-meeting. So you click on this guy, and then it will ask you a whole lot of questions. It says, great, you're going to a client. Okay, what's the URL of the customer? And then it starts kind of quizzing them on stuff that they should already know because they've been to the website. You also upload the documents that the customer has sent you, if you're allowed, and it will now check your basic understanding of what's going on. That we want to build a website to do this or that. Okay. There you go. So just the basics are covered. This is funny, okay? And this comes to Jack's question. This guy Levi he is an account manager, but everyone in our company must do the Scrum course because a lot of our projects run on Scrum. So he did it, and he just attained this qualification, which is great. But what I thought was hilarious was when I went in there and saw him doing this, and he had built his own little GPT. And here is something he'd asked. The CEO has asked me to drop everything I'm working on and start something outside of the sprint. What should I do? Ever encountered this? And then it tells you what to do. Awesome. And he said, there I am with all these programmers in the course, and they were all blown away that I could write a GPT real fast, but none of them had an idea. So he had a great time feeling smart in that course. Now, this is what was funny. I went to have a look at it because I just wanted to test it out myself. And you type in, I knew the name of the thing, but I couldn't find it. I go, what the hell? There's this many GPTs already written. I couldn't find it. I actually had to go back and say, I need the actual URL. Sorry, I can't find your thing. This is already insanely popular. So if you're not writing GPTs, you're way behind. They're quick and easy. So If you haven't written one, go home tonight and write one. Okay? It will take you less than 5 minutes and you'll be done. You'll have some fun too. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something else, and I shouldn't show you this because this is probably the worst practice we have in our company. And people like to make a lot of big deal about it, etc., and make it make sure that I know that this is a painful thing because I don't really want to fix it because I set this up myself. I think that's why they like making fun of it, because it was one of the older things I set up. But it's just how you book a developer. And we don't book developers heaps. Like, you know, a client wants a developer for 3 weeks. You have to go in and put a record into CRM and do this and make sure it just displays on the billing calendar, etc. So this is the process. You look at the report to see where a developer has availability. Then you log in to Outlook, Office, and log in as the SSW booking user. You navigate to the calendar, you create the appointment, you set the dates. Don't get the dates wrong because it creates a problem. Then double check you've got everything and press save. And yes, sometimes Dynamics has an error. And if there's a problem, go back to the account manager to fix it. Oh, that's all it is, but they really don't like using my little system. Anyway, that takes 8 minutes. I've been reminded many times it takes 8 minutes, but it doesn't need it. Gert is a very upbeat guy. He runs this Melbourne office. He sent me this video just so he just wanted me to know what he was doing this day. So I'll just play you the video.
Hi, I'm Gert. I'm an account manager at SSW, and it's been 3 hours since my last Valium. So booking consultants on clients is really fun. I'm going to give you a quick demo of how it currently works, and so that you can share in my joy. So first of all, our first option is through Outlook. We all know Outlook, and we all love Outlook. So we'll go to our appointments, and you can see there's so many to choose from. For this scenario, I want to change Luke Parker, one of our best consultants at SSW, to work on SSW for a little while. So as you can see, I can quickly select Luke by going to the 3-day view, maybe the 1-day view, and maybe looking at another day and finding Luke event. I can change the times, the date. I can delete the event, I promise. Luckily, we have a second option.
What Callum did is he created a little prompt, and he goes, when is Callum next available for 1 week? I need to book him in for Northwind. And it responds like this. He's next available for a full week from Monday the 26th, and there's the date that we can give you on this project. Would you like to confirm? And you go, yes, please. And then it goes, done. I've talked to BookingPro, his little thing he called it. The booking for Callum was successful. We booked from this to this. The appointment included the initial project meeting, the review of the project requirements, and the start of development planning and initial coding tasks. And there is the proof it got created. That's all it really does, but it saves you from the whole experience. There is an appointment. There's the appointment that automatically got created. So you accept that, it's put it on Callum's calendar. And just to prove, there is the appointment that got created in the, when you look at it via a calendar, which is usually the first step people do. They look at the calendar and they pick someone. So it clarifies who's being booked if you're not sure. It checks availability. It makes booking work easy with even your voice if you want it. And the big thing is it takes 30 seconds to do this instead of 8 minutes, and you don't have to use all that UI. The more amazing thing of all this whole thing is Callum built that in 2 hours. He worked out, he had to work out the APIs to call, etc., and that was done. Very, very easy. Basically, it's a prompt it's a GPT. Okay, you can watch the whole video if you want on how to do that. In fact, I might just show you some of that. This is one of his done videos.
Hey guys, Callum here from SSW. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to show you how I use custom GPTs and 2 hours of my own time to save everyone at SSW 10 minutes every time they want to make a booking. And with 80 plus consultants all around the world, that's a hell of a lot of time. Let's jump into it. So the current process when we're making a booking is first, we're going to check the booked in days calendar, which looks something like this. Basically, each person is listed down here. They've got green squares indicating they're booked for a client, black squares indicating they're booked internally, blank space indicating free, red square for leave, and a yellow for a warning. This whole process I've automated using Custom GPTs, and the new process looks like this. You send a message, and that's it. It creates all the booking information for you. You don't have to do anything else once you've sent your message. All right, so here I am on my custom GPT called SSW BookingPro, and I'm going to ask, when is Callum next available for a week? I need to book him into Northwind. And so what's going to happen now is it's going to look up the required details. So firstly, it's looking up who is Callum. It's getting the user ID of Callum. Next is looking up Callum's calendar. Next, it's looking up the client called Northwind. And now it is giving me the response. So Callum is next available for a full week from Monday, the 26th of February to Friday, the 1st of March. The week is free and suitable for booking to Northwind. Let's just double check that by checking this. And yeah, so this week here, I'm on leave. This week, I've got a couple of days of leave and a client booking. This week here, I'm free from the 26th of February to the 1st of March. So it has correctly identified the next available week. And now it's asking me to book it in. I will confirm. Yes, that is correct. And so what it's going to do now is it's going to go ahead and create that booking. And I'll just confirm that. And there we go. So booking for Callum has successfully been scheduled for that week. And let's go back and check the booked in days. I'll just let it refresh now. And there we go. Callum is now booked in from the 26th.
Right, so awesome. And you can see all the bookings actually happened, and there they all are. I'm just flying through this, etc. All right, awesome. So hopefully you like that and you got a bit of an idea. Let's get into the main meat. And the last section is about enterprise AI solutions and how you'd build a proper system that is using all code in C# and deployed using normal DevOps practices. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you about the problem first and why we developed this to give you an idea. We have a whole lot of approvals. You can send an email to get something approved. You can go into Teams and ask them to approve. There's some automated steps that people use, Power Automate, to get approvals happening when they buy their laptops and different things like that. When you write code, all code in our company goes through a pull request and gets approved. So everything has a second set of eyes. You can submit expenses and get approved in Xero. And we have sugar learning when you do induction items and a second person approves those. So, you know, not on all different things, but there's lots of approvals. Is this ring true with organizations that you guys work at? Many different approval systems? Right, okay. Jack, any extra ones? ServiceNow, okay, approvals in that?
Yeah.
Azure DevOps, you got approvals going through there, like, right, okay, so lots and lots, okay. So we had a challenge that when you have approvals and lots of different approvals in a company, then there's blockages. There are people to wait to get things approved, and that's painful. So people getting blocked, we didn't really know, because everybody can approve things in the company. It's really just a second set of eyes. But some people do a lot of it, and some people don't do very much of it. we even have this system as well, where this is kind of if Bob sends, if who's this? Dave is sending an email to Bob and saying, hey, can you get a new camera for the TV team? And this is the camera, checked by Yuli. That's approved because he's checked it, and then Yuli would be CC'd. Okay, and we're very visible when there's been a second set of eyes on this. So that email was drafted by Dave, checked by Yuli, and we put at the top, checked by Yuli. So this is we call this the 4i principle. We have a rule on this as well, how we work. Now, I realize there's a bit of a problem when somebody in the company, somebody about Matt Wicks's size, wrote a song and started playing it around the office, and different people were playing this song. Now, we are often seeing Country Roads in the Sydney office. That's a pretty common song that we all go. Anyway, so he says, take a look at this rule, check by, which everybody loves making fun of. Generate a country song based on it, and we need a verse. So it generated that, and then he went to Suno, which is an AI song generation thing, which is pretty cool. And it came out like this.
In the office world,
and this was the song I was hearing all the time. Can we turn it up?
Check by at least makes your message flow. Forgiveness for when doubts arise. A second
look
makes your email wise. Check by, ensure it's right. Check by X6 keeps your message tight. Avoid mistakes, be clear and true. Professional tone, through and through.
All right, I think you get the idea. Okay. Anyway, that song kept playing everywhere, and all a great joke, but it does many of things said in jest. You know that? They're making, although it's a good system, they're making a bit of fun. Now, I just want to mention something. You could actually use Bing Chat in Edge and make that song with one prompt. You didn't need all those steps that they went through. Went to a rule, tell me a song, give me the song, put it in Suno. You can do it quicker. Anyway, not that you'll ever want to be creating songs, but if you did. Now, we also have this other stuff where we have approvals. And these are synchronous ones, and they're real time. To get approval, we get it collaboratively done with Teams calls a lot, and these are when people are suggesting changes. So we have those as well. And the async approvals are when people are filling in forms, such as, what's this one? This guy wants a phone, so he fills in this. Have you read this first? Yes, I've read it. That's good. Now fill in all the rest of it. So these are non-blocking, but you have to wait for somebody. Microsoft approvals is the most common type of these asynchronous approvals. Zero me expenses, NDC tickets, that type of stuff. So they're the two types of things. So we have this asynchronous approvals and synchronous. Now, to get a report on all this stuff, which are Teams calls confirmed with emails and different things, is a lot harder. So we thought about this and we realized that we could be looking at emails, GitHub, Azure DevOps with a custom tool. So we wrote a custom tool called EagleEye. Now, let's walk through how to do this. First of all, we had to choose what language do we want to write this in. Well, we would choose .NET. Who else would choose .NET? Who would choose Python? Jack, come on. Who would choose Java? One? The old guy. Okay. All right. So the approach that we could do on the AI story is we could use a traditional app where we write all the rules. We could call the OpenAI API directly, similar to what I did for the Norway example on the rules site. Or we could use semantic kernel, a nice C# style UI over the APIs. So of course we chose .NET and Semantic Kernel. And Semantic Kernel is a great thing that Microsoft have released. You can give it basically a task, and it will go off and do all the work and respond once it's all done. So this, taken to an extreme reality, will mean that we won't be doing anything ever again. Now, here's the email. So basically, you pass in the task that you want. It will create a plan, call the Graph API, do a whole lot of work, and then finally come back and saying, here's the email with everything that you need to do. And then you could probably have that done as well. So we did this, and I'll just play the video so you can get a bit of an idea on what the solution is and how it works.
In all companies, valuable information are often buried in unstructured data like emails. With EagleEye, we're able to analyze and visualize this data to turn your company's million emails, appointments, or pull requests into actionable insights. This helps to ensure consistency and detect trends in your processes, as well as pinpointing deviations. And we're also able to work with your company to customize EagleEye to meet your needs. One of the reports we have is looking at emails checked. This is based on one of our email rules. Do you use checked by? So before we go any further into the report, let me explain how this works. Let's say you have an email you want a second pair of eyes on. This could be an important email you're sending off to a client. Then you get your coworker to review it, and once they're happy with it, we add at the top of the emails a checked by and then the person's name. Since all of our employees follow this rule,
now this is kind of amazing. If you look at this is a real example, by the way. So checked by Wixie, Goldie, and Cookie. Now, his actual name, Wixie, if you look up here, is Matt Wix, and Goldie. I wish Aussies didn't do this, but anyway, Goldie is which one? Matt Goldman. And Cookie, who's Cookie? That's Luke Cook, right? So how does it work out that when you're talking about these, which ones it is? I don't know, but it's, it works it out. And of course, you want to check how it works it out, and we'll talk about that.
Test the emails and see how many check buys are done in our company. By utilizing AI, it's able to associate nicknames used in the emails with real people. And as an added bonus, we don't have to worry about spelling or casing. So, back into the report, we can have a closer look at its check by emails. This report is a good way to determine how much workload the checking of the emails takes from specific employees. At the top right corner over here, we can see that we have sent 97,000 emails the last year, and about 4,000 of them has been checked. In the graph below, we can see how many check by emails are sent per week over the last year, and we can see it increasing over time. But maybe the most valuable information is over in the table here on the left. Here we can see the stats of how many emails our employees are checking. So we can see that Julie, our general manager, has checked almost 600 emails the last year. And in the third column here, it shows a percentage of emails checked out of all checks that has been done. So we can see that Julie has done 14%, around 14% of all the checks. And also from this report, we can see that Julie, Adam, and Pierce are checking a lot of emails, and we can try to find someone maybe further down the list to take some of the workload from them. Another report we have is looking at all sent emails in the company. Over here on the left-hand side again, we can see the different categories we have. At the moment, we have 3 different categories, and there's even more coming. One of the categories we have is asked for checked by. This is looking at the other side of the check by emails, namely the employees that ask their coworkers to check their emails. Now that was 2 of the reports we have currently. Going further, we have plenty more reports coming your way. Now looking at our roadmap, we can see that not only will EagleEye have more email categories, investigate appointments and meetings, but also report of pull requests from GitHub and Azure. And that's everything on how we take your company's million emails and turn them into useful statistics.
So let's talk about that a little further. And I should say, first of all, this is a paid product, but I'm not trying to sell it to any of you guys. if anybody here wants it for free for their company, please email me today and say, hey, I was at the user group and I want it for free. Okay, and here's my details, and we'll give it to you. So what is it? Okay, so it's a daily trigger. It pulls content from different sources. You saw an example of pulling it from your emails, but it can also pull from Azure DevOps and GitHub and stuff. It's looking at plain text. It's looking at unstructured data and turning it into important, useful reports. So it gives you reports and you can visualize what's there, and that will create useful reports. Now, I want you to understand the costs. Calling, when we did this for Oslo, we realized how expensive it was calling the APIs. Now, don't forget, they've now got a lot cheaper and a lot smaller. So I want you to focus. So this is the data for this is 106 employees, 320,000 emails, and 166 daily API calls. Okay, but being aware that this is going to cost you a little bit of money, I want you to know what's there. So see the purple. This is the one that's expensive, or this is the one that this is the AI stuff. All right. If you look at how much it does every day, it's quite almost impossible to see. Now there's some big ones. These are when the tests were run to re-index starting from scratch, like the developers are doing tests. So every time that they start afresh and they do the whole thing, it costs, well, it's not that much actually, it's only $3. Okay, so just be aware. Now, obviously, when you get monster databases, it's going to be a lot more expensive, but if you're careful and you're watching, it's going to be manageable. All right. Obviously, it's much smaller than the software costs, unless you're an idiot. Okay, you're not monitoring this stuff. All right. Now, here's the tech stack. You have Outlook. So the daily trigger goes to Outlook, pulls in all those into the container app job. And then we have GitHub that pulls all your pull requests into a separate container. And Azure DevOps pulls that into that. All calls the OpenAI, ends up in a SQL database, ends up in Power BI. All right? Understood? Okay. Now, the nicknames, I've told you about the problem with nicknames. People calling, hey, fair dinkum wazza, that's Warwick for the uninitiated. Crikey Damo, that's Damien. And we have these names everywhere. But this is an example of fuzzy data. And that example that I just went through is here, and it works it all out. As a software developer, it's awesome to say, I pass through that to the API and it comes back correctly. That's awesome. But how do you know one day when this breaks and it stops being as intelligent? You want to know, right? So what do? You write unit tests. So you call it for the first time and you go, well, there's the subject, there's the body, there's the CC, and can you work it out? And it goes, yes. Who checked the email? Now, I want you to understand there's a lot more to the product than this, but this is basically who checked the email, and we'll work it out. And we'll go check by Matt Wicks, which is Wixie, Goldman, Goldie, and Luke Cook Cookie. Now, how do we know it works? Well, we have a whole lot of integration tests. We have a mock email that we pass in, and it calls OpenAI, and it confirms they're correct. And here's just an example of the screenshots for this. And you can look over here, and this is their unit test. I don't know. I've never heard Callum called Cal, but I guess I think it was Daniel that wrote this. I've never heard anyone call him Big Danny. Maybe he wants to be called Big Daddy. And I've never been called the cog wheel, but maybe I could be called the cog wheel. Okay, so that's his unit test that he wrote. And here you can see in the video that Isabel did that if you look here, and the first thing that we get is people telling us you can't have more than 100% of emails being checked. And of course, you can. Why? Because sometimes more than one person checks an email because there's a few people in a meeting. Okay, if we're in a boardroom and the meeting's going on and we're kind of agreeing these are the action points, the people in the meeting, you'll put the names there, so you're going to end up with more than 100%. But here was the goal. Who's doing most of this and who can take some of the load? So that this report helped in that manner. you can come up with many different scenarios in your own company. And who is sending a lot of emails? So Yalal is the top here. She's sending emails and getting a lot of things checked. She's new and she's getting help. Makes sense. Nick, he's a scrum master of many projects. He's sending a lot of emails. Okay, and you can just look through here and see if it's making sense. All right, who is liking the sound of getting reports out of unstructured data? Can I get a show of hands? I'm just curious. Okay, about half the room. Who does not like the sound of this? Sounds spooky. No? Just Jack. Only Jack? Wow. Why, Jack? Tell us more.
It seems like non-deterministic, and since it's like a language model, it seems like you can't really test for that properly.
All right. So I think he's worried about AI doing hallucinations. Now, this does happen sometimes. You pass stuff to AI and it's gone nuts. It gives you a completely wrong answer. You can also, if this becomes a recurring pattern, which it hasn't been in our experience, but if it did, and let's just say we're using Jack's example, where you could pass in a resume and get the wrong decision whether you hire or not. I'm going to guess if you're passing in resumes and picking people to hire for jobs, you got bigger problems. You should be passing in resumes to get a short list and then interviewing those with a human and picking the best cultural fit and best technical ability. I'm going to say, if you worry about the hallucination part, which is a real concern, Jack, you can also call another AI and have that as a backup test so that you know that you are not, like you've got a second safety. Because you're not going to get a hallucination, you'd be pretty unlucky, on the same thing twice. Okay, because it's not a common thing for it to hallucinate. All right, moving on. So, in summary, it collects unstructured data, and those reports trigger a whole lot of conversations about, in our case, how to optimize the blocking issue about people being blocked. We're going to be adding a whole lot more. We've already added this email categorization. You can make your own rules on this, and we've improved the provisioning story for people to get their own company up and running in our database. And there is an example of some of the stuff on the roadmap. So you can go to this site, eagleeye.com, and have a look at it if you like it. There is that video, and there's a whole bunch of stuff here that you can see. And of course, all our images were generated by AI, our own little GPT that already knows what you're after, and there's a little bit of information. All right, so let's pontificate about the future very quickly. What do you think when you think of AI? Well, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. I was, when Sam Altman got sacked? Who remembers this? Sam Altman got sacked? All right, we all do. I happened to be in a remote village in China at the time. And I went into, I was talking to the owner of the hotel, and he said, "Oh, what did you think about Sam Altman being sacked?" And I'm thinking, what? This is huge. If this, I'm on a tiny little hotel. This guy does not seem super techie. Yellow Mountain, base of that. And I thought, that's incredible. This is everywhere, all over the world. Now, when you talk to a lot of AI, when you talk about AI to a lot of IT managers, the conversation is either replacing humans or enhancing humans, all right? And they're the two. That's the scary one. This is the exciting one, okay? And we'll see where the future takes us. But when I did this talk in Oslo, this is what I was saying. Here are our players. We've got OpenAI right now, but we believe Google are going to release something. They're not going to not release something, because don't forget, they invented it. So why would they not release something soon? Meta, they're going to release something too. IBM, apparently they would, and Tencent in China, well, they're definitely going to release something, right? So that's where we were 6 months ago. Where are we today? Well, we had this guy Sam Altman, and he said, I think we're at the end of where it's going to be like, I think we're at the end of an era where it's going to be like these, like giant models. Okay, this is his quote. And so he was essentially saying, we're getting some giant models, there won't be any more. That's 6 months ago. What have we got now? Well, we now have OpenAI as upgrade to GPT-4 Turbo. Google have released Gemini. Meta have released Llama. IBM have not given us anything. And Tencent have Haiyan. Is that pronounced correct? Yes, Will. IBM has what? Watson. Watson next. Okay, thank you. Hold on. That's what we had. Hold on, Jack. Somebody, how many coffees did you have today? Okay. All right. Yes, we've got Anthropic. He's always one step ahead. And they gave us Claude. And we have Pi. And we had some big news about Pi today, didn't we? And Mixtrail and Ernie from Baidu. Okay, so we got the two big China ones as well. All right, so I don't think that he was correct. And so there's likely to be more as well. And we're going to work out what's good and what's bad. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So this is what I said 6 months ago. It's going to start helping us to write code, clone code, push the pull request, run commands like pull, build and test. And it should be able to redo stuff based on error and feedback. By the way, you can watch my talk on YouTube that I did on NDC to see my predictions, to see how close we got. And you should be able to feed its output in, so it sees stuff and maybe tests stuff, feed it back to see if it can fix it by itself. So I want to show you this example, and this came from Microsoft, and they have this thing called Copilot Workspace, and this is going to be huge. They've got massive teams on this. And I was just in Redmond, Seattle, for the last couple of weeks, and I saw some pretty amazing stuff. So you're going to show, so imagine this GitHub issue, and this GitHub issue says, can you show GitHub handles when a gallery cell is active? Like, it means when you hover over this thing, you see this little pop-up, but can you put who it is, the GitHub handle? Okay, let's see what it can do. So it will then say, is the GitHub handle displayed on the active gallery cell? And then it will make a specification. It will say, current, no, it's not displayed. The code only renders the image. There's no text element there. And this is what we're proposing. So it automatically generates what it believes is happening and what it believes you want from the image and the description on the GitHub issue. So this is where your job as a human is to read this, press edit if it got anything wrong, so it's misunderstood, or make it better, and then it will say, here's the plan. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I guess if you've got this right, you would then check the plan and you press implement. So that was done, and this is what you refer to as the genie. Okay, you press implement, there's the genie, it automatically goes through and actions all the plan, tick, 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 tick. There's the code. You can look at the code, what it did. If you don't understand, just create pull request and have a look. So if you're not happy with it, you can rerun it. So there is what it's done. It's done that. An ICE key, you could say move it down, change the color, whatever you want to do. And now we hit the create pull request and it is done. You then go merge pull request and click merge pull request and you are good. Now, how many people think this is amazing? How many people would not use this? Okay, one person, and it's not Jack. Okay, so almost all of you love it. What's your name, sir? Sergey. Why wouldn't you use this, Sergey? Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you wouldn't immediately trust it. You definitely should use this as an assistant to help you. And if it's got it wrong, then you've got a job to do. This is very similar to what you do today. You have a junior do some work, you receive a pull request. You should be tough and consistent on your pull request. And then it goes through to code with approved by Sergey. This is, you do the best job. You fix it up, just like a ChatGPT prompt. It gives you an email. You're not going to send that email to a client without fixing it to Sergey's standard. So this gets done, checked by Sergey. Your pull request goes to somebody else. There's another set of eyes on it. So, I think, I feel that this is a massive productivity aid. The Microsoft stats that they were showing us, there were some amazing stats. They also showed us some Accenture stats. I'm not sure whether I certainly have some stuff that I probably shouldn't tell you all, but it is pretty exciting. As a minimum, developers that are using Copilot now are getting 40% of their code written and accepted. And they keep focusing on what, basically, it's at least 1 in 3 suggestions are being taken and committed into code. So it's pretty helpful. Okay, and I think the bigger thing is once someone's done it and used it, give it to them for a month and see if you can take it away from them. I think that's going to be the big test. Now, how many people are familiar with V0? Just a few. Okay, everything Vercel do these days, and they're like a golden child. They're pretty awesome. Create me a pricing plan page for a product called EagleEye. The pricing plan should have 3 tiers. Okay, a real example we wanted. It created this. It says basic, $9 a month. There it is. Pro, $29. Premium, $99. It creates this. Now, this is in a development environment. So that little prompt sits in here with the different options at the bottom. That if you don't like the look of this, choose the other. Now, if you look at that and go, that's awesome, I'll take that and I'll fix up the prices a bit, but thank you for the nice design. I press this button over here, code. How much do you think it costs you when you press that button? Jack, give me a guess. You press code and we'll give you the code for this. How much do you reckon it costs you? No, now when you press the button code to grab it. Give me a guess. 0. What do you say, Sergey? 2 cents. Okay. Well, Jack is always one step ahead. It's free. I don't know why it's free. It's insane. But you get this, and there's your React code. Take it, and you're good to go. Look, they weren't going to make much profit because Sergey was only going to pay 2 cents for this. I would pay more, but I think it's awesome. All right. How many people would use that cool thing, V0? How many people think it's worthwhile using? Okay. How many people would not? So I think I have... What's your opinion, Sergey? Are you a fan? Right, okay. So I think that even if you're a front-end dev, you would do this. Imagine this scenario, Sergey. You're on a call with a client, and the client was saying, like a product owner, the product owner says, do you think you could give me a pricing page? Maybe like if we could have a few columns, that'd be nice. And you just are jotting down the notes. But instead of jotting down notes to send yourself an email or jotting down notes to put in a pull request, you just put it into Vercel, V0. You take a screenshot, you put it in the chat or share your screen or whatever, and say, are you thinking something like this? I go, whoa, wow, you did that fast. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty fast. A bit of a machine, Imagine how that would go. So, we don't tell them, Jack. If you tell them, they'll not be impressed. Okay, all right. So, I was interested in the devs in our company, and we have. So I was just saying, would you use this in your solution? And this is an internal survey. What do they have? So the most common said that they would use it in their initial meetings for sure. So that's like a lot. A lot of others said, yes, I'd use it during my spec reviews. Spec reviews are when you're building out like a more detailed thing. So initial meetings are just a very quick, hour or two meeting with the client. A lot of people would use it for development. So this is, and you can see how many people would not use this. This is in our company. And these are all people that have tried it and used it. So it's close, but not good enough. That's 9. So those people have tried it and they won't. But these guys have tried it and they will. So you can see it's got some legs. All right, we want to go from the Oracle to the Genie. The Oracle is, I'm not talking about the Oracle company, just the Oracle, the smart thing that gives you all the answers. That's ChatGPT. And they always talk about the Genie will answer your questions, perform actions, and that's the Assistance API that I showed you. That's GitHub Copilot Workspace, which I just showed you, taking a GitHub issue and an image and writing the code for you. Okay, that is the Genie. There is something that they should talk about and put in the middle, and I've just added this. I'm calling it the concept of the servant. And this performs specific tasks, and that's something like that Custom GPT. Remember I showed you the BookingPro by Callum? That is what I put in the category of servants. And this Genie is where we're heading to. So the AI for devs now is writing 46%. That's the published number by Microsoft. You can now code, edit, push pull requests. So that's done. So far, everything I said 6 months ago, we're already being able to see being done. We can run commands. We can redo feedback based on errors. It's feeding its output back in, and we are really almost, this is in progress, but this is happening. So we are a long way from where we were 6 months ago. So the big conversation that a lot of people are having is this path to AGI, this artificial general intelligence, is very scary. It is very clear that it's going to be doing a lot of stuff for us, and we're going to be just looking at it. So human oversight is approaching zero. And the human input required. So I'll give you this. So when they've been making these models, so they make models based on human-generated data all over the internet. They make their models, and those models are checked by humans, right? Now they're making the models, the new stuff, based on synthetic data generated by AI. It runs through their models, and now they're having the checking being done by AI itself. So the actual new models are being done automatically. And some of the world experts are saying the quality of the models is very good, even without our oversight. I'll tell you in one sec. So you can tell AI to do anything right now, write a book and publish it, develop a full software application. This is kind of where we're heading to. And you might find that, let's just say you have an interest. I have an interest in how Aussies are doing in China when they move there and give me stuff, and it would write me a custom book and you would read it. Okay, you might be at that point where you're reading stuff on demand like that. So here is that stuff where I was just talking about how that reinforcement learning from human feedback is changing. And the main guy at Google Brain, Andrew Ng, there's an article here you can read about it, but they're basically saying without human oversight, it's even better quality than what we're at, or at least close. Now, when I start reading this stuff, it's a bit scary. You can see the direction that we're heading. It's some of it is hard to conceptualize. Now, I think I'll just bring it back to when people don't think that how they feel. Like they are often they will tell themselves that they're not angry about something when they are. They don't say what they think. They'll tell other people that that's okay when they don't think it's okay, and they don't do what they say they will do. They say I'll do this, but then they don't do it. So humans themselves are pretty flawed people, and if we have AI determining court cases, it might be a better system than what we have now. It might be more predictable or more, might be better for, instead of politicians who can be easily influenced, this might be a better environment in many cases. We'll see how far this goes. We don't know. Now, we'll hang around. We can have a bit of a chat, but this was what I went through. I went through the news, the no-code solutions, the low-code solutions with the GPTs, how we built an enterprise solution, and we talked a little bit about the future. Now, remember I said marketing assistants, prompt engineers, content writers too, graphic designers, sonographers, pop stars, software developers, and we still have woodworkers and plumbers. So if you want some swag, I'm going to give you the QR code. If you would like one of these, these are the ones for the devs. I'll put the devs on this side. These are for the engineers. And I will put the ones that you might want for the people in your office. These are these. These are just the normal prompts. I'll put them down here to grab after here. There is the QR code. Thank you for hanging around. Long presentation. And I will see you in the next one. All right, so we're going to take some questions if you want.
Oops, sorry. Hey, okay. Anybody got questions for Adam about that talk? Yes. Oh, Sergey, let's go here.
Thanks, Adam. A bit of a philosophical question, I suppose. Are you familiar with the hype curve?
I've heard of it.
Sometimes I like to step back out of all the noise, etc., and just look at it and thinking, where do we think we are on the hype curve when it comes to AI technology? Obviously, it's very revolutionary and life-changing, but is it possible that even with all the technologies appearing, it will die down or find some sort of equilibrium that is not as hyped as today, or we're just starting and the world's going to change completely once again? What do you think?
Well, it's a good question, Sergey, because the hype around AI is extraordinary, right? I can really mostly base it on what I'm seeing at Microsoft, right? And the investment by that company in AI is extraordinary, and it is making them quite successful. And all the planning of the hardware was originally based on Azure consumption and all their the data centers around the world. Before this, they are generating a new data center every several days, right? And this is before we got into all these LLMs. The large language models is increasing the computing power of this, and the only people that are using this is us. Like the software developers are the main people using this. People are all hearing about AI, but they're not generally using it. Now, don't forget, we're in Australia, we're an advanced country, and we have the ability to pay $20 a month for this stuff. And so we're probably, if I'm going to guess, we're early on, right? I remember, and this is going to last a long time. It's going to get in all the products, and we're going to use it more. It's going to be make a Word document, pops up, you generate an email, it helps you It's appearing in LinkedIn. I remember when Google came out, and only a few of us were using it, and almost, turn up to a user group and everybody was using, what was it, Alta Vista. And I wrote a page which was, because I was trying to work out how do you get high on this thing. And so I wrote a page that said rules to better Google rankings. And if you type Google rank, I was first. And then all of a sudden, people were all trying to rank. And I remember all the regional directors at Microsoft saying, oh my God, if you type Google rank, you're first. That's insane. But we are still using Google all these years later, and we're still trying to get this right. So I can only guess, Sergey, we're right at the beginning of the hype curve.
All right. One more question over there. You had one?
Just a simple one. Do you have these cheat sheets on your website?
Do I have the cheat sheets on the website? I do. You can type SSW GPT cheat sheet. Yes. Or you can take one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Any more questions?
I'd love to know if it generated any ideas for you back in your office, like how you're going to do things. Or even if anyone has a major takeaway they got, if you could share it, it would be awesome. Especially for the answer.
All right, Adam. I've got some questions from online for you.
Yep.
Given that all this AI stuff should be open, how much should we be paying every month on AI?
Well, this is going to, how much should you be paying every month? Well, I'm going to say, look, there's a lot of different people that I think it's more important than your coffees, okay? You guys down here in Melbourne spend too much energy and money on how good your quality of coffee is. It's not that important. You could switch to instant coffee and instead pay for chat. Oh, good. Okay, I didn't mean to. All right, maybe that's taking too far. But the rest of us don't care. So you could switch to instant coffee, or even better, have a better sleep and go for green tea and pay for ChatGPT every month. Be smarter. Don't put it on the first screen of your iPhone or your Android. It's because it's prime real estate there. Every time you open, you'll see the icon. You'll use that for every question, every conversation. And you'll be miles more in front and financially in front as well, because you won't be wasting money on your coffees.
I was amazed at how much that taro latte costed this morning you got.
Yeah, I was in Melbourne. I had a taro latte. I've never had one before. I thought, well, I may as well become a snob, coffee snob. So I did my whole routine.
So a lot of these Copilots and all LLMs, you have to be online to use them. Have you got any alternatives for offline?
Yes. So I did a talk at NDC in Sydney just a few weeks ago, and Scott Hanselman was in the front row watching. And then he got up and did his talk straight after. And it's online, you can see it, where he talks about all my examples, but doing it offline. And how you can pull down these large language models and do it all without any consumption over the internet if you want. So yes, you've definitely got many offline. I'm personally going to say, I'll let you guys make up your mind. There's certain cases where it's very important, especially where you don't have connectivity, but it is very manageable. These costs are not extraordinary. These are less than a coffee per day, and you can, they're very strong, and you're going to keep getting the improvements of it over time. I think we've got a question in person.
A lot of this has been around ChatGPT and use of that. Our company, a lot of the data that we have is client data. So I've pretty much told people not to use Chat, but I'm using Copilot. What's your views on putting proprietary, confidential data onto Chat versus, say, Copilot type tools?
This is one I don't really even want to touch, because this is very industry specific, and the risk reward appetite has to be determined by a company. The bosses in a company know where their unique selling point is. They know the risk. Now, all I can tell you is Google created this GPT. The T is the transformer, okay? And that was the magic part of creating this thing. And they created this and go, wow, this is awesome. This is incredible. Let me test this out. And if you remember, Microsoft many years ago created a Twitter account, a Twitter bot, wasn't it? Tay. Do you remember Tay? So Microsoft had a massive research department doing AI essentially. And so they released Tay and said, oh, we've got this great thing. You can ask it any question. And it was like an aggregation of Twitter. And then people started asking, what do you think of a black programmer or whatever? And it would come back with these N-words and pretty horrific stuff. Well, this thing, I think it lasted 7 hours. You can go and read about it. Didn't last very long. It was pretty horrifically rude and horrible. I guess that's the amalgamation of Twitter. And I can't tell you how upset the Microsoft research department were because that was implemented by a marketing department, and they can't even, say, if F-U-C-K, remove it. They can't even write an if statement. Like, they just put it out there and say, oh, how does this go? It just was killed. So Google were in the same position. Now they've got this awesome thing. They put it out, they open source it, and they go, wow, this is incredible. And then they start doing some testing. I'm guessing, I don't know this, but they're doing some testing probably. And probably they're finding the odd case that it's doing something rude or racist or whatever. And Google brand is worth a lot of money. They don't want to take any chances, do they? Like, they can't risk this. Well, OpenAI, they're worth nothing. They're worth a couple of hamburgers. And so they have a go at this, and they go, well, we can release it. Why does it matter? So they release it. Yeah, it's got some problems. GPT 3.5 was pretty ordinary. GPT-4 is pretty awesome. And their value skyrocketed like nothing else. Poor execs at Google must be horrified. They must be horrified. So, and this is a Google killer. Like, I keep going to it. I'm not reading any Google ads anymore. I'm using it all the time. They don't have a very good answer other than hope that Bard is good. No, it was bad. So now they've rebranded to Gemini. Let's see where that goes. So you can see you can not take any risks and potentially get eaten up by somebody else. And that's kind of the decision of the bosses at the company, really.
Thank you very much. That was an awesome talk. I learned a lot more about AI. Might not buy as many coffees now. But no, it's wonderful. Thank you very much. I guess we'll see everybody next month. Thank you very much.